Hey friends, and welcome to the Happy Hour with Jamie Ivey podcast. I'm your host, Jamie, and I'm so glad you're here. Each week on this show, I invite a girlfriend to join me and we chat about the big things in life, the little things in life, and everything in between. Today's show is brought to you by Try Softer by Andy. The world tells us to try harder, but what if we tried softer instead? We think if we keep hustling and pretending everything's great, we'll find success and happiness. But therapist Andy Kolber knows this leaves us overworked, overwhelmed, and exhausted. In her debut book, Try Softer, Andy teaches us how to set boundaries, grow in self-compassion, and live a life of connection and joy. Find Try Softer on Amazon today. Guys, welcome to the second episode of 2020. Episode number 279. And today my guest is Natalie Greene. She's a connector who values friendships and getting things going. Natalie and I have shared several mutual friends forever, and it's been a joy for me to watch her journey with the work of Africa New Life. On today's show, we talk a lot about this great organization and share more about this trip that I'm actually a part of next week. I am actually heading to Rwanda in just a few days. It's my first time. I'm so excited. I'll be traveling with my son, Caden, as well, so that's super exciting for me as well. You'll hear us talk about during the show that we have a goal we're trying to meet, and I want to invite you to join me in supporting the work with Africa New Life. We're going to visit their community programs, and we're going to raise money to ensure that every student has their stomachs filled with good food for them during the year. Food in Rwanda becomes more expensive each year, and Africa New Life will serve 2.5 million meals this year. To ensure the best care possible for these kids and the families in crisis, we need your help. Every dollar buys food for our students and their families. You get to be a part of this happening. We're going to talk about it a lot on the show today. And I want you to visit africanewlife.org/food-for-tomorrow. Again, that's africanewlife.org/food-for-tomorrow. If you cannot remember the link, head over to my webpage, jamieivey.com. We always put all the links up, and we'll definitely put this link up for you as well. But check out that link to partner with myself and my friends. Several of them have been on the show. You remember Jamie Nato, Rachel Proctor, Suzanne Hendricks, and soon-to-be guest in 2020, Alina Pitts is joining us as well, along with some other fabulous ladies. Don't miss any part of our time in Rwanda. Follow along at the hashtag #FoodForTomorrow. Again, follow me on Instagram, and I'll show you where all these other ladies are on Instagram, and you can follow us all. On today's show, Natalie also shares intimately her journey to motherhood. She's a single mama to 3 boys, and each son has a unique story to how they have entered into her family. And it was such an encouragement to hear Natalie share her story. Okay, friends, here's my conversation with my friend, Natalie. Natalie, welcome to the Happy Hour.
Thank you. It's good to be here in your tiny house.
It is a tiny house.
And I liked my name at the door when I walked in. It says the Happy Hour, Natalie.
Isn't that fun?
It's very cheerful.
We change it all the time for everyone that comes in.
How many people come out a week?
Well, we do our podcast, so we will batch record. This is good. A lot of people wonder this. And so the week that you're sitting here,
right,
I will have done 6 interviews this week.
That's cool. But you're like getting yourself through the holidays.
6 interviews in 2 days.
Oh, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Do you have someone after me?
You're the 6th.
Oh,
I have like some other work and another meeting, but you're it. You're it.
Yeah, and then welcome to the weekend.
Welcome to the weekend. I know. So we do a lot of batch recording only because if I were to have someone come in here every week, I travel, all the things. And so
that makes sense.
Done. Yeah. We're recording this before Christmas and it's January 8th.
Right.
So if I ask you how your Christmas was, you can't even tell me or you'd be lying.
I can't tell you yet. And I have some exciting things between now and then right after that.
I know. Okay, so introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are, what you do, and what your family looks like.
Yes. Okay. Well, my name is Natalie Elizabeth Greene. I am the mother of 3 boys, and they're awesome. I have 2 little boys who live at home with me, and you've met them. So Jude is 6 and Hayes is 2, and you've also met our big brother, Chusa, who is 24, and he's in college at Warner Pacific University in Portland, Oregon. But he's from Rwanda. He's part of our family. So we've got the 3.
I'm going to hear that. I'm going to hear all 3 of their stories.
Yes, you are.
By the end of this hour, and I can't wait.
And then we live 4 blocks from my parents, and so that's super fun. My sister also lives in town with her family, so we're all here in Austin.
I love it.
And I work for Africa New Life Ministries for the past 10 years, and so I'm the director of strategic partnership, and I really do friendship. I mean, that's my job.
What a cool job title. Here's my job title. Friendship.
Yes. We say at Africa New Life that ministry happens at the speed of friendship. So that's
I love that.
how we do life.
So you're a connector.
I love it. And that is my name in Rwanda. It's called, in Rwanda, my colleagues call me Mahuza, and it means the connector.
Really?
Yes.
Because they see you doing that?
Yes.
I love
You
that.
don't get to pick your name. That's something
It's given to you.
Yes.
Do they give everyone a name that comes through there or just people that work
No.
for? Okay, I was hopeful that I would get a new name.
I think you'll get one.
Okay, I would love to have a name. That would be so fun. Okay, you work for Africa New Life. The coolest thing, we're going to talk about your family, but we'll just let everyone know that this is releasing on January 8th. In just a few days, I'll be with you in Rwanda.
Yes, and I'm thrilled because we've been talking about this for a few years now.
And it's my first time. I've been to a handful of other countries in Africa.
Right.
But I've never been to Rwanda.
So you have yet to be bit by the bug.
What do you mean?
It gets in your blood. There's something special about Rwanda, and then you're going to be able to tell everyone what that is for you because you'll have a comparison, which is really cool. And I'm not saying that other countries are not great at all, but Rwanda has a story, and that is, well, okay, everyone has a story, but Rwanda has a profound story that I think affects people differently because really it's a country about reconciliation, redemption, resilience. And there's a lot about Rwanda that is really profound and amazing. So I think of all these R things whenever I think of Rwanda. I think of redemption, reconciliation, resilience, forgiveness. And I think in everyone's life, they've had to grapple with or they're going to have to grapple with forgiveness. Everybody.
Yeah.
No one's immune to that. So whether it's a hard relationship, whether it's your relationship with the Lord, like however it is that Rwanda, there's something special about it that really allows people to go there. I think it unearths things in people when you see what this country has been through and how they have come out of it and where they are today. I always say to people, I feel like what has happened there is such a witness to the world. And I feel like our country has been going through so much, even when we think about civil war. And if we've come, however level of how far we've come, Rwanda has just shot past it and has so much to teach us. A lot was happening at this time in Rwanda that we didn't know about over here in the States, but genocide was happening and there was a war within the country among two tribes. And there are three tribes in Rwanda. Rwanda is the size of Maryland, very small country, East Africa, landlocked. And they had lived in harmony for years and years and years and years, and colonialism came on in and disrupted harmony, which sounds familiar.
Very familiar.
And they had a genocide where almost 1 million people were killed in 3 months. That's what we know about in 1994. What really is the truth is that the genocide happened in the 50s. It started in the 50s. And what happened was people started moving out of Rwanda. This tribal war started in the 50s. But it was a very long time where many lives were lost between the 50s up to the 90s.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, and you're going to be going.
I'm going to learn all about this.
Majorly.
Yeah.
You're going to go to the memorials. You're going to go to some sites where people were killed in mass. And you'll see where the history and the stories of different things that were happening in different parts of the country. Even our president and founder, Pastor Charles, his family, where they were from, a certain region of Rwanda, they had to leave in the 50s. So he actually was born in Uganda as a refugee because his family had to leave Rwanda in fear in the 50s.
And when did he come back?
He came back after the genocide. So he grew up as a refugee his whole life in Uganda. And he came back after the war. His father in the 90s was he came behind the troops and he helped clothe and feed the troops as they entered from Uganda down into Rwanda to stop the genocide. So when the genocide stopped, they got word in Uganda and he was the eldest of the family. He was sent down to go find his father and find out if his dad was alive or not.
Was he?
He was alive.
Oh, good.
He found him in Kayonza, which is the birthplace of Africa New Life.
Oh, my gosh.
And his father said to him, I'm never leaving my home country again. Send for our family. I'll be right here. I'm waiting for them. And so they all came down and that began their life in Rwanda.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've I don't remember in, 1994 when this happened and we were in high school. I don't remember it. And for a lot of reasons, A, I have a bad memory, but B, I don't think I was aware of the world. And C, the internet, all the things.
Right.
It was a little bit different time and day. But I would say probably about 8 or 9 years ago, I read a book called Left to Tell. And I don't know how I picked it up or where it came from. And it's always been on my one of the best books I've ever read list.
Oh, wait. You need to get Immaculate here on your podcast. We're going to do that.
Yes, I do.
We're going to do that. I've met her twice. Phenomenal. Let's invite her.
Yes.
Okay.
See, you're the connector.
And she is remarkable. Her story
Where is she? She's still in Rwanda?
No, she's up in New York.
Well, I'll just have to go up to New York to find her.
Yeah.
That book is one of the best books I've ever read.
Yes.
And it's the book I say, oh, you should read this if you're going to Rwanda. Like, this is it. And I'm going to have Kaden read it.
Good.
Before we go to Rwanda. Yeah. So I read that book and it gave me my first glimpse into the genocide and what happened. And I highly recommend the book to all you guys if you want to read it. No matter if you're going to Rwanda or not, it's such a great read.
100%.
But that was the first time I ever really remember hearing about the genocide.
Yeah. And I think her story is remarkable. Read it. She survived in a bathroom with many people hidden. In the 90s, like this is not like...
Yeah, unbelievable.
Right. And the thing about just the history of all of this is that to backtrack, right before the genocide of Rwanda that happened in Rwanda, the genocide against the Tutsis, there was a huge issue in Somalia. So Black Hawk Down, which some of us are familiar with. Again, it depends on your age, but there was a big thing where American troops were killed in this mission.
So this is before the genocide.
This is before the genocide. So what happened was our government got gun shy to go in and do anything because of what had just happened in Somalia.
Wow, okay.
I know. Well, I saw that people were commenting and I was like, oh, I wonder... I always think about what people are thinking as they're processing through that and having gone so many times. And I feel like every time I walk in there, there's a different layer, a different way to look at things, and I was looking at the comments of what people were saying, and I can't remember what the person said. It had something to do with, can you believe this happened in the 90s, And her response was that, yeah, we were all watching the O.J. Simpson, Nicole Brown trial at the same time, which is really
crazy.
Yeah, really crazy and really sad.
And it is crazy when I told you earlier that I don't have a lot of memory of hearing about this, but I have very vivid memories of the Simpson trial and the jury and the Bronco chase and the glove and all the things.
Right. And then no idea about
what was happening around the world.
And, I've been going for the past, I went in 2007 for the first time. So let's do math, but that's like what? 12 years ago for the first time. And I've been through the genocide memorials, different sites so many times, but there's a new one that I had never been to. And I just went to this summer. It's called Campaign Against the Tutsis. And in this, you really see real time, everything that was happening leading up to the genocide. And it's fascinating.
Because when you're saying all this, I think of Rwanda genocide. For some reason, I think something snapped, and in 3 months, 1 million people were killed.
Right. No. This was like percolating.
Years of building up.
Yeah, it was. And the timing of all these things, and then Somalia and Black Hawk Down, and it was, it prevented our government from going on. But finally, there was this, it was multiple things. It wasn't just our government. Our government didn't stop it. There was actually, it was... I'm going to take you to this.
I can't wait.
I'm going to take you to this memorial because it's fascinating, and you see how their president, President Kagame, was in Uganda and was building up this army to go in and go down and stop it, and they stopped it.
Wow,
from inside, and it wasn't like a U.S. came and stopped it at all. It was that, and they're called the RPC, and that is. I think
I would have read that in the book about them. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and I'm going to read that book again before we go.
Yeah,
because it's that good. It's that good. It reminds me what I'm excited about seeing the memorial is. I remember how even as an 8th grader seeing the Holocaust Memorial Museum, what we call a memorial in New York City, DC. In DC, and the way that moved me,
right?
As a 14-year-old
kid.
Says
something.
Yeah, it says something, and I'm looking forward to that seeing what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that day when we take people through, and we'll do it on Sunday. When you're getting in like a Saturday night. So that Sunday morning, we'll go to church at New Life Bible and we'll go eat. And then I'm going to take you there. And it's a hard day.
Yeah.
You know, I bookend it with something full of joy.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to tell you.
It's a surprise.
It is. But
okay, well, so let's talk about the trip for a second.
Yeah.
You and I are going.
Yes.
You're in charge and I'm along for the ride. And we kind of put our heads together and invited a bunch of people. We threw out a bunch of things and here's how we landed. I'm going to tell everyone who's going on the trip. Okay. Suzanne Hendricks, which my listeners know her because she's been on the show. And if you were at Happy Hour Live in August, Suzanne was there. Which you came to that one, didn't you?
I came to Ruth and Rebecca, who have been to Rwanda with me.
Yes, you came.
So
the night
I went
before.
to theirs.
Yeah.
I should have gone both nights.
You should
I don't
have
know why I didn't.
So Suzanne Hendricks is coming. Kate Bowman, which you know. What's her Instagram?
Lone
name?
Star Southern.
Okay, she's coming. Rachel Proctor, who's also a friend of the Happy Hour, was just on this past semester. Jamie Nadeau, who has long time ago been on the Happy Hour. She's also been a Happy Hour Live guest, and it's still one of the episodes that's one of the most shared.
Wow.
Yeah. Go back and listen to that.
That's cool.
Alexis Gabriel, which I do not know. You don't either. Kristen Johns, which I do not know.
Same.
And then myself and you.
Yes.
And my son.
Yes.
He will.
And Jamie's son's coming too now.
Is he really?
I forgot to tell you.
Oh, I am so excited.
He'll have a friend.
How old is he?
He's like a teen boy.
This is perfect.
It's going to be great.
This is perfect because Caden would be fine, and I'm happy for him, and I'm going to have him bring his camera and get all kinds of experience, But he actually will turn 16 in country.
Oh, okay. He's going to have blowtorches on his cake.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like no candles. They're like fireworks on the cake.
Okay.
It's going to be fun.
Well, he turned 16 in Rwanda, which I think is a great way to spend your 16th birthday.
Truly.
So I'm super excited, but. You've been asking me about joining you guys for Rwanda for a long time.
Yes.
We have so many mutual friends who have gone. You just mentioned Ruth and Rebecca and Jenny's gone and Tasha's. So many of my friends.
Esther and
all of them.
Yeah.
Rwanda. And it's never been able to work for me. And this came up. And I was like, yes, this sounds amazing. So tell everyone, because, the trip for us is obviously we invite these people. Full transparency is we want to bring people who can spread the word of what of what African New Life is doing.
Yes.
We want to get into more Instagram pages. We want to get into more home. We want exposure because that is how ministries are run. Am I right?
Right.
So we're inviting these people to help and come along with us. And we have a couple of goals and missions. What are we doing on this trip?
So we're going to be focusing on food.
Which is like my favorite thing in life.
Right.
Yeah.
It's why I thought of you.
Thank you.
But for real.
Thank you.
Erin
cooks. In fact, right now, I went over there in between interviews. There's something stewing in the oven.
Yes.
How good is my life? Okay.
That's awesome. We always, every year, African New Life, we have different projects and programs, and a big piece of what we do is child sponsorship. With that said, we have a big food budget, as you can imagine, with serving over 10,000 kids in child sponsorship, plus their families. We're in 7 communities where we have a church in every community, and there's mercy ministries within that. There's a hospital. We have a seminary.
All run by Rwandans.
So over 500 employees of African New Life in Rwanda, all Rwandan. There's about 23 of us in the States. And a big piece of what we do in the States is we just want people to know what's happening in Rwanda.
Yeah.
We're not running it. We're in partnership with our colleagues, and it's founded by Pastor Charles.
Which, just to make everyone clear, is the same guy you told us who was a refugee in Uganda.
That's right.
During the genocide, and then his dad went back. Okay.
That's right. And
putting
so
all the pieces together.
Right. And so African New Life was born out of what he saw when he came in after the genocide to the country. He saw, if you ever talk to him and hear him, he would tell you what he saw, which was he saw people that were not living on the side of the roads and all over the place. He saw, everything burned down and just destroyed. And he saw many, many, many children who were left without families. And he said, Lord, I'm here. Like I feel he'd already been called into ministry. And so he knew that his mission now was right there, and starting right there where his dad was, which was Kayonza. Well, it was in the late 90s.
Okay.
And then African New Life was founded officially here in the States as a 501c3 in 2001.
Okay, got it.
And so
So almost 20 years. I mean, 19 years
Right.
founded.
We're about to have our
We're
20
about to
years.
have, yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
which is super exciting. And so essentially one of the things that obviously, so it started with kids. It started with a tiny preschool. That's where in Kayonza, tiny preschool, he sponsored 9 kids himself. Him and his wife, they took money that they had made that they were going to buy a house. And instead of buying a little house, they started the ministry.
Wow.
And then he also took pictures, and it's the cutest thing because he'll say, I put all the kids on a floppy disk.
Yeah. I remember.
Because that was the day and time. And he came back to the States with about 23 kids, I want to say, who needed to be sponsored. And he just started telling people, because he was going to grad school, seminary, in Multnomah, at Multnomah in Portland. And he started telling people. So really the ministry came to be and was founded there in Portland. That's why we're headquartered there. We have some board members there. His first actual touch point in America, though, was to come to a conference in Texas. So he's
welcome to America.
Exactly. Texas first, then Portland, which is kind of fun. And so we have board members in both places from the very beginning. But all that to say is that so much of what we do is child sponsorship, but we have these schools and churches, and there's need for food. There's deep, deep need for food. There's lots of statistics that we can look at that have to do with, just severe stunting that's happening across the country, particularly in the rural areas, and how this affects brain development and how this affects schooling for children. So you'll find little ones, repeating grades or falling asleep in class because they haven't had anything to eat. Yeah. And just period, everyone needs lunch at school. I mean, that's universal. Yeah. And so that's what we're going to focus on. We're focusing on school lunch. And why? Because children need it to grow and to learn and to thrive. And so a few years ago, we recognized within African New Life that we only do work in Rwanda. So that the cost of food was getting more expensive. The cost of everything was getting more expensive because we're landlocked. The border, sometimes it can be hard. Like even this last summer, the border was closed between Uganda and Rwanda for a while. Even in Congo, it was closed a little bit here and there for various reasons. And then also just that there's not enough land to farm for food in Rwanda. So because of these issues, to buy food, to have it imported and brought in, or to grow it, there's just some challenges. And so procure food in 3 ways with African New Life. We buy it locally, we grow it locally, and we ship it in. Okay. And people will say, why are you shipping in food from the States? So it makes sense. We only do it strategically and responsibly. Mm-hmm. And we do it to bring in high protein, high nutritious kind of like stuff to mix in with the stuff that we're buying locally and that we're growing. Yeah. So it's a combination effort, and costs 83 cents a meal, and with child sponsorship, what happened was that the price was going to grow. It was going to get more expensive. And we weren't able to keep making child sponsorship more expensive because people don't understand that when you're looking at larger organizations, they get to average the cost among many countries. Right. But when you're working in one country, you can't just keep letting the price go up, even though that's legitimately how much it costs. Right. They don't understand the nuances. So we said, you know what, we're going to pull food out of our budget, but we're still going to feed the kids.
Fundraise for it.
And we're going to fundraise for it separately. Got it. And we're going to tell people why. All the reasons I just told you. So in our campaign, our goal is going to be to raise $75,000 while we're on the ground. And
we can do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
These happy hour listeners are legit.
I think we could go for 100, but that is
75 is our goal.
That's right. It's our goal. Our budget, just for perspective, is $535,000 for the year. Okay. For food. So that's 83 cents for a meal. Next year we'll serve more than 1.8 million meals in our schools. And we raise about $700,000 for that food. Wow. Through gifts of food. We give that out. So what happens is we do it in 2 ways. We have school lunches, and then we also give food to families in crisis. Okay. So not all the time, not growing dependency. Right. This is what the social workers do. They keep a pulse on what the need is. Just like a food pantry. Which is what a local
would do. Exactly. That's right. So $75,000. Yes. That's the first time I've heard this number.
I know. I meant to tell you before we recorded.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it. Okay, so here's how people can follow our trip. First of all, in the show notes, we will give you every person that's on the trip their Instagram, because we're all Instagram lovers. Yes. Follow us. On the show notes, we'll also have a hashtag. Follow it. And then just follow along and see what we see through our eyes. And then we invite you to give. We're inviting you to give one time. If you want to sponsor, if you want to give it for monthly, those are both awesome.
Right.
If you want to give one time, that's awesome as well.
Yes, all of it.
Right.
It all is value add, obviously. We have a big goal and we're going to reach it. But that is what, with child sponsorship, a lot of times people will say, I don't know what my job's going to be, or I don't know if I can commit to 12th grade.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't want to start with a kindergarten and not be able to stay with that child till 12th grade. This is perfect. You can sign up monthly for food. And, if it doesn't work for you in time, then you can stop that. But it's kind of gives particularly young people or people in ministry or people who aren't sure about, their financial scenario with jobs and
a way to be involved still.
A way to be involved and to jump in.
Yeah.
And then you become part of an email, list that's not annoying, and we don't give out emails or anything like that, but you'll get updates. So you'll be hearing about what's happening specific to food with African New Life.
I love it. Okay. Yeah. And the last thing I want to tell them about this trip, before we talk about you and your boys, is Milk and Honey Teas.
Yes.
Which if you've been a long time Happy Hour listener, Milk and Honey Teas because they used to, I've done stuff before with them on the show. And
they've been at your lives.
They've been at my live events. Like we've just been fun partner friends for a while. And Mandy and her team are doing some great stuff over there. Mm-hmm. And Mandy and Milk and Honey Teas are partnering with African New Life.
That's right.
They have a t-shirt for us.
Yeah, they do. You
want to tell them what it says? You tell them.
It says Ladies Who Lunch.
How fun is that?
Because it's going to be awesome because here's ladies who want to go around and like raising money for lunch.
For lunches. So,
it's fun because we thought also it would give people here in the States opportunity to buy it, and the proceeds go to this campaign specifically.
Oh, good.
And ongoing to this food budget, ongoing, as long as she has the shirt. Mandy's a dear friend of African New Life. We've been friends for many years. Love her so much. She supports our women's ministry. And so the proceeds of
a
the
lot
business
of her,
for years have come to African New Life. So she's a dear friend. She's excited to partner with us on this shirt. And so we'll have that up and ready, by the time this airs and that kind of thing.
I love it. Okay, friends, I know that you're loving my conversation with my friend Natalie, but I want to thank the sponsors who make today's show possible. Today's show is brought to you by Rothy's. Rothy's are the perfect everyday shoes for life on the go. They're stylish and comfortable, and they come in an ever-changing array of colors, prints, and patterns. They're also available in a range of styles like sneakers, loafers, points, and more. I have the loafers, and I love them. In fact, the color that I have, the style, you can't even get it anymore because Rothy's changes their styles all the time. That's one of my favorite things about them, actually, is that you're always going to find something that you love when you look there. And because Rothy's are seamlessly knit using thread made from plastic water bottles, they're ultra comfortable as soon as you slip them on. There's none of that gotta wear them in and work them in and try to get them to fit. My Rothy's fit the day I put them on my feet. Also, an added bonus to Rothy's is that they have diverted over 35 million water bottles from landfills already. Plus, Rothy's always comes with free shipping and free returns and exchanges. So there's no risk and no worries and no reason not to try. Check out all the amazing styles available right now at rothys.com/Ivy. That's rothys.com/Ivy, Ivey, my last name. And I just want you to know right now, I am checking out their new merinos, and I cannot wait to get my hands on those. Go to Rothys, ROTHYS.com/Ivy to get your new favorite flats or loafers or points, whatever you're looking for, they have them for you. Comfort, style, and sustainability. These are the shoes you've been waiting for. Head to rothys.com/Ivy today. Today's show is brought to you by Third Love. Third Love is designed with measurements from millions of women. Third Love's bra styles are made to fit your life. In fact, they have over 80 bra sizes, but no, the only one that matters is yours. I've been wearing Third Love for a while now, and in fact, it's the only bra that I wear anymore. They're not only comfy, but their customer service is amazing. They really want you to get the perfect bra for yourself. My favorite bra right now is the lace back t-shirt bra, and I'm about to try the cotton wireless bra. I will let you know what I think about it. This is hands down the most comfortable bra that you will ever own. With straps that won't slip, tagless labels, and lightweight memory foam cups, they mold to your shape. Plus, returns and exchanges are free and easy. In fact, one of my favorite things about Third Love is that thanks to their perfect fit promise, every customer has 60 days to wear it, wash it, and put it to the test. And if you don't love it, return it and Third Love will wash it and donate it to a woman in need. Third Love knows there's a perfect bra for everyone. So right now, they're offering my listeners, that is you, 15% off your first order. It's a great reason to try them out. Go to thirdlove.com/Jamie, Jamie, right now to find your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/Jamie for 15% off today. Okay, here's the rest of my conversation with Natalie.
Okay, let's switch gears.
Yes.
Let's talk about Natalie and your boys.
Yes.
So
That's my favorite topic.
it's your favorite thing to talk about,
Yes.
your boys.
Yes.
I would like to say that all of your boys, all three of them, have come to you in quote unquote non-traditional ways.
100%.
100%. Okay. I was like, that's not mean, right? It's true.
Oh, no, it's a fact.
It's a fact. It is a fact.
Yeah.
So let's go in order.
Yes.
Who came first?
Chusa.
Okay. Tell us how you met him.
It's just that the relationship evolved more into a mother-son relationship actually a little later, but he did come first in that. So I met Chusa because I started sponsoring him when he was 13 years old.
Like through a child sponsorship
through
program
African
with
New Life.
African New Life.
So I went on staff 10 years ago, literally, and I went and a colleague of mine heard me saying that I wanted to sponsor a child now with African New Life because I'd been sponsoring with another organization. And in my mind, at this point, I was single, come from a girl family, and I had already sponsored a little girl in Rwanda. And I thought to myself, I was just going to get another little girl. Like I was going to go look for a little preschool girl. That's what I had in my mind. Yeah. So she heard me say I wanted to sponsor a child, and she came over and said, well, I have this student I want to tell you about. And she told me about Chusa. And essentially she was saying, his mom just passed away. His dad passed away when he was a baby in remnant fighting of the genocide. And he's number one in his class. He just sat for exams, 6th grade, P6. And there's an age and grade discrepancy because he had been displaced for a little bit in school. And they were like, he was number one in his class in these exams. And he wasn't going to get to go to 6th grade. He had been there through another child sponsorship organization that had gone under. And so he wasn't going to get to go to 6th grade. And the teachers and the headmaster and boarding kids, like some kids that actually pay to go to this school that can afford to pay locally, they all took an offering and paid for him to go to 6th grade because they were like, this kid is amazing. He needs to, sit for these big exams that happen in 6th grade. So they put him through. He tested number one. Then simultaneously, right after that, I come on staff with African New Life, know nothing about him. My colleague hears me, says that, comes over. I said, oh, I'd love to meet. That sounds like, I've been a teacher. Yeah. That sounds like a kid that needs to keep going to school. And she said, I'm going to have him come tomorrow. And I said, well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to sponsor him. So she told me his name and his age. And the next day they called him in. It was on school holiday. He was just waiting. What I did not know is that he had moved in with an aunt and uncle who the aunt had converted to Islam. And she had said, I'll send you to school, but it has to be a Muslim school. And he said, no, I'm a Christian and I believe in Jesus. And my mom raised me to know Jesus. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have faith that God's going to provide. I had no idea about any of that. I come on staff. I'm there in January. I'm training. My colleague tells me about him. They call him in. He shows up and he's wearing his uncle's trousers, long sleeve shirt, sweater vest, shoes. It reminded me of Big, the Tom Hanks.
When you put on clothes that are too big,
yes.
like when you put, yeah.
Yeah, when Tom Hanks shrinks to the kid.
Yeah.
It was like that. And he showed up like his best foot, forward. And I had already said yes, but it's like he thought he was like trying out,
Yeah.
And that was the first day I met him. And it's incredible because it's been, January will be 10 years. And to see what God has done in his life, it's just amazing. So he entered into our boarding school that next year for 7th grade S1, senior one.
Because he had a sponsor.
That's right. He wasn't going to be able to go. He was literally going to be done with his formal schooling at that point, unless something.
He went to the school that his aunt was going to send him to.
That's right.
And he's refused to, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was also a stretch there and could have been hard, could have been broken up. But all that to say is he entered in. This kid, my son, became the student body president his senior year, worship leader at the church, just incredible. Self-taught on a guitar. I brought him a guitar a few years in and he started by ear, taught himself how to sing and play the guitar. And he loves to dance and just an amazing kid. The thing about him though, is that he was always wise beyond his years. He always loved Jesus so deeply. And he's been I've been inspired by him.
How did the transition go? Because this is not typical. And if you're listening,
it's
this
not.
is not why you sponsor kids.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes. And it even bothers me being an adoptive mom.
Yes.
When people say, would you want to adopt a kid?
Right.
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
You're spending $23 a month.
That's right.
So,
you're sponsoring that student.
Yes, exactly.
And that is a huge difference. And thank you for saying that. Because I mean, I'm being honest here. I had to be careful about that also with my role because this is not normal. So it's not because
So when did that switch happen
That's
for you
right.
and
So
him?
I started traveling there very regularly because of my work.
Yeah.
And because of that, we got to form this bond. And really it was that he was my sponsored student,
Yeah.
you know, not mine, but he was a student.
Well, you sponsored him.
That I was sponsoring.
And I've met my kids that we sponsor.
That's right.
The same thing. So I would go visit them. Yeah.
That's right. And so we were building this relationship. And in the midst of this, Jude came along. And that's my other son, one of my other sons. So, but in the midst of this, because we were spending so much time together, and as he grew older, it really just organically happened. And I remember where I was standing, but I was walking down the road and he called out to me and he called me mom. And he said mum, actually, M-U-M. And he had never called me that.
Yeah.
And, just hit me. So I would say over time, and then we didn't know what the future held at this point. We had no idea that he would get into university in the States. I would joke with him because he would say, I'd love to apply. And he's so smart. And I knew he had a chance. He really did stand a chance, a good chance. And I said, well, the beautiful thing is you got me.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing is you got me. Like we're going to just have to
Be together.
wait on the Lord and really see if he provides and opens doors, So we're just going to take a step at a time in faith. So long story short is the Lord totally opened doors for him to come over when he graduated from high school. Less than a year later, he got admitted into His Hill in Comfort, Texas. Okay. So Torchbearers school. And it's a 1-year Bible program. It's a great gap year program for people.
Okay.
Who are not sure what they're going to do after high school and after college. And so he came and he did this Bible school program for a year. They bring over international students as well. And then while he was here, he got accepted into an ELP, an English language program at the University of Texas. And he just hit the ball out of the park on that. And then we were able to apply for universities.
To where he is now.
Yeah. He actually had a little stepping stone at another school and then to this one.
Yeah.
But this was the right fit and he's just thriving. He is, in fact, we were sitting there, I was waiting for you looking at him doing the Christmas chapel at his school, leading it.
I love it.
On Instagram. He's got a beautiful voice and he's just doing phenomenal. And he's such an amazing big brother to these little guys that I have at home. Yeah. So Jude came along in the midst of this story too. And that I knew, I was approaching 35 years old, single, never been married, and I would love to be married. And I still think I will be. But I knew that a clock was kind of ticking a little bit on motherhood.
Right.
In some ways, if I wanted to do certain things,
Yeah.
like whether it was adoption or whether it was biologically having a baby. But I knew that I hopefully have many years to meet, a man of God.
Yeah.
And I kind of had this come to Jesus thing with me and I took some time. I really prayed about it. I actually sought some solace. I went to upstate New York for a winter and then came back. And then I went to Nicaragua the next fall. And I was working from these places, but really just sitting before the Lord and going, okay. And talking to wise counsel in my life. I was talking to Pastor Charles, talking to my boss, talking to my parents, talking to my mentor, Jerry, talking to my pastor in New York City. And everyone was just so on board, Just, Natalie, you've always talked about wanting to adopt. You've helped so many of your friends adopt. You've been there in these stories with them. Just go for it, And I prayed and felt that peace. So I went through, I actually did a domestic adoption here in Texas. People will often think that Jude's adopted from Rwanda because of my work there. But at the time, Rwanda adoptions were closed. And I just through another friend was introduced to a small agency in Houston that was willing to work with me. Yeah. And just an amazing experience. And I had no idea when he would come. I finished the paperwork. I started it in September, finished paperwork in December. And I had no idea. My friends planned a baby shower for me in January.
Just saying, hey.
In February. Yeah, just in faith. You're paper pregnant is what they called it. Let's just have a party.
Let's celebrate, yeah.
And so literally I get a phone call on a Thursday and the party was going to be on Saturday, the shower. And my agency called and they were like, he's here. Can you be in Houston tomorrow morning? So this is what we call Instamom.
Yeah, really.
And I jumped in a car the next day with a handful of my closest friends. It was a van. And we went on down to Houston in Texas. And I met my son. So he was a few days old. And it was just I was so ready. I cannot even tell you, like, and my best friend, Carrie, she's always like, I will never forget your face that day because you were just so, she was like, we were all emotional and we were all like, and you were so focused. Like, I was like, I'm coming for my baby, you know, like, and so Jude, you know, came to me and literally the next day he was at his shower.
You went to the shower the next day with him?
With him, and no one knew. So literally he was like, hey, he still had his umbilical cord on, you know, like he was fresh out of the hospital, and my parents were standing in my friend's room, and she had tied it off. My friend Missy had like tied it off with this darling little bow with a little sign that said like, you can look but don't touch, kind of like a museum room. So my parents are in there holding Jude. But people were like coming up to the door, and it was like, she put a sign on there like Natalie and Jude, like Natalie in cursive and Jude in block. I just remember that so well. And a little sign that said like, you know, please no pictures. And people were like, what? What is happening?
So they came to the shower just to celebrate you, not knowing that Jude was there.
No. Yeah.
Or any baby. I mean,
at all.
That is so
And they come
fun.
in and he's there. And my girlfriends, Elizabeth Giddens that morning, you know, had got up and got a cake, and on it was a big cake and it said, hey, Jude.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So fun.
So after you had Jude though.
Yeah, so, you know, I don't know if this is the case with everyone, but, you know, I grew up with a sibling. And I really valued that. And I knew I wanted to have more than one child from the beginning, if God willed. What I didn't know, and even when I had Jude, and I didn't know that I would have another one the way I did. I still kind of thought, well, I'll meet someone. And then be able to biologically try, because that was a desire of my heart. And it was also a desire of my heart to adopt. And this goes back to junior high.
Yeah.
Well, the desire to like birth a baby came to like little girl, where I would like pretend to nurse baby dolls. And so kind of time goes by. And again, I went through this little journey of like praying and being kind of quiet before the Lord. And I knew in my heart, I wanted to try naturally to conceive. And that was a little out there.
Yeah, because people are like, you're single.
Yeah. Like what? And some people probably had a problem with it.
Did anyone tell you they had a problem with it?
No
But
way.
you think people would?
Oh, yeah.
Because they would say it's not like how it's supposed to happen, that kind of thing. Would that be the pushback?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, I do. And I desire that I desire my kids to have a father.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't have that desire.
Yeah.
I do. But I, you know, sought wise counsel, prayed and had a peace. And I just thought, you know, I'm going to try. And if it happens, so I did an IUI with donor sperm. And I was like, if it happens, it happens. And,
IUI is
intrauterine insemination.
Okay. Oh, that's a fun word.
Yeah. And the thing about it was that everyone has their different, I'm talking with my hands here and you can't see, but everyone has their different convictions of what to do. So I'm not speaking about anybody else.
This is Natalie.
This is Natalie. For me, my conviction was that if I could conceive through insemination, that's what I was going to do. And if I couldn't, then I was going to move forward with a second adoption.
Got it.
And let me just tell you, sitting here right now, I wish I could do both again.
Yeah.
I would love to adopt again, and I'd love to. I mean, I'm almost 42, and I mean, I'm full capacity.
Yeah.
I don't think I could, but I would love it. I've always wanted lots of kids. It's my heart. So I hope I'll have a lot of grandchildren. But it's just funny how it all happened. But I did go through. So I went through this process with my doctor. I went and visited him. He was like, "Let's do this," you know. And he was so wonderful. I didn't, you know. He was like, "We don't know if you can easily conceive or not," and I did easily conceive.
First time?
Third try. And
is that normal?
No, that's fast.
Oh, that's fast.
That's real fast.
So 3 months?
3 cycles. So 3 one-shot times.
Okay, got it.
You know, like.
So this isn't, excuse my ignorance.
No,
this isn't
it's
how when someone.
Does IVF?
Yes, and they end up with triplets.
No.
Not the same thing. Got it.
I just was like, took an ovulation test at home when it was that time of the month. Like when I was ovulating, it said I was ovulating. I went into the doctor's office and he just put a little tube and.
So the other one is they're putting eggs that are already matched.
That's right.
In you. That's
IVF.
Thank you for the medical terminology schooling, right?
I'm here for it.
I'm sure you've done that a few times in your life. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and there's all these like acronyms and stuff. But all that to say is that's where my conviction level was like just kind of was a delivery issue. I just needed the delivery of the sperm.
Yeah.
And so that's what the doctor did. And the third time I got pregnant, which is really fast, in this, from what they told me. But I did miscarry, which was really hard. And that's a hard thing to go through. And I had gone and it was, I had seen the heartbeat of the baby at 6 weeks. And then I went back in. Well, and at 6 weeks, they'd seen 2 sacs, which is kind of crazy, amniotic sacs. And we saw 1 heartbeat. So the doctor was like, I just want to prepare you.
Question.
Okay. That would be fraternal.
Okay, keep going.
No, I guess it could be identical. No, it would be
they
fraternal.
only saw 1 heartbeat.
Fraternal. They only saw 1 heartbeat. So they thought it would be fraternal because there were 2 sacs.
Okay.
Separate. And so they saw 1 heartbeat. And so he was like, I kind of want to prepare you. Like when you come back in next, we may see 2 heartbeats because this is still really early.
Oh, so he was saying you might be able to see the one right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. So when I went in at 9 weeks, the thing I was thinking about was
Twins.
I was not thinking about no heartbeat of any, right? So it was just like, and I just, I went numb and quiet and I didn't have anyone with me.
I was going to ask if you were
and
alone.
it was the biggest mistake. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I wasn't thinking, and I wasn't thinking that it was going to be something like that. So I remember going out to my car and I had no emotion at that moment. And I went home and talked to my parents, and I was sad. I called them. I was living in Hyde Park at the time. And I just remember kind of going to bed and knowing that I was going to have to come in the next morning and do a D&C because I had so much fluid, because now I'm 9 weeks, but there were 2 amniotic sacs. So it was just kind of further progressed. And when the doctor came in that morning before the surgery, I started bawling. And he was like, I'm so glad you're crying because I couldn't stop thinking about you last night because you just didn't. People normally like just show emotion right
but
then.
You kind of were a little numb.
I was numb.
Yeah.
So that was hard.
And so then when can you try again after that?
So
the
normally,
next cycle?
Yeah, you could. You can try the next cycle. I decided it was coming up to summer. And we spend our summers in Rwanda, generally speaking, with my kids, with work. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to take a break. Like, I want to make sure that I don't want to
have to think about this. Or
And I didn't want to, again, everyone has a different journey, but my kind of conviction was like, I wanted to kind of process that a little bit. And I knew I was going to try again, but I wasn't in a rush. I mean, I think one thing when you're 35 and single, at this point I was 39 and single, like, I wouldn't say I'm an expert at waiting, but I'm comfortable in waiting.
You've had to wait.
I've had to wait for many things and a lot of things. So I wasn't like, get me the next cycle. I was like, let me make sure that and I also wanted to make sure my body was okay and all of that. So we went to Rwanda and had an amazing summer, and then we came back and Jude went to kindergarten. Or no, he didn't go to kindergarten. He went to pre-K. And I tried again in September. It didn't happen. Tried again in October. Got pregnant with Hayes. Okay. So then sweet baby Hayes arrived in July.
Which would have been the second try.
Second try.
Which is also fast.
Very fast.
Okay.
Which is such a blessing. It's such a blessing.
And so you did not go to Rwanda the next summer. You had a baby.
I had a baby.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was just amazing. I'm just so grateful to the Lord that I've been able to experience motherhood in these different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
3 very non-traditional ways.
Totally.
Yeah.
And,
and I can say that as an adoptive mom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, but it is,
yeah.
It's not the typical, definitely not use the word normal. It's not the typical way. Right. I'm going to ask you a question that I'm only asking because I'm your friend. And I think I know what you're going to say. But I also think everyone listening is thinking this. My kids that are joined our family through adoption have questions about where they came from.
Yes.
How do you as a mom walk through that with 2 completely different scenarios?
Right.
We'll just talk about your little boys. Okay. Because your older boy knows, he's fully aware of his life.
Yes.
Of your 2 little boys, how are you navigating those conversations with your boys?
I know. So we're just starting them, I feel like. I mean, with the baby, I still call him the baby. He's 2, but he's, I've bought some books for him, for his unique story. I feel like...
Are there books that play out the way your story played out?
Well, no.
Okay.
But yes and no. Okay. There are a little bit with IUI and donor sperm.
Got it.
And so I know this is just the truth. I have a little more time with him before we go there, to which I've sought counseling. And so with Jude, I love counseling, and therapy is a beautiful thing and has been very helpful for me in navigating this. I think a lot of the advice I've been given, which I'm sure you have been too, is, answer truthfully, age appropriately.
100%.
And so that's what we do.
Yeah.
When he asked me questions, and so I'll tell you the most recent thing that I can think about. We were picking up payway, like Chinese takeout. And Jude said, I wonder if we'll ever meet my birth mother. And I said, yeah, honey, like, I don't know either. We have a closed adoption. I've left the door open, but so it could happen or not. I don't know, and we would cross that bridge when we get that. Her decision if she wants to. And I certainly would welcome that. And so we would just go, work with my agency on how to go about that. So he said, I wonder if we'll ever meet her. And I said, me too, And he said, do you know what she looks like? And I said, I put the car in park because I was reversing, and I drove back into the parking spot, grabbed my phone, jumped into the back seat between my two boys. And I said, let me show you a picture of your birth mother.
Is that the first time you've seen it?
First time. Yeah.
How did you have it?
I had it on my phone from the agency.
Okay.
And you know what? I forgot that I had it.
Because he's a baby and you're not you're not showing babies pictures
no,
on your phones.
and because it wasn't like because I didn't get to I just have that. I only have a little bit, and that's the only picture I have. And so.
What was his reaction?
He said, she's so pretty. I said, yes, she is. And then he said, it's so hard. Yeah, it is. It's really emotional. And I said, she took such good care of you and loved you. And the greatest gift is her and you. Uh-huh. And so it began a conversation of, in the same time, so his birth mother is white and his birth father is black. And that's also something that's going on for him at his age because he is biracial. And I know you're familiar with that. And so, I think it's the first time it registered for him like, oh, my birth mother is also white like you're white.
And like my brother.
Yes. And like my brother. Yes. And so there's these things that are connecting, these dots. And then, and he's really embracing it and proud of it. He's so proud of his brown skin. And he says, I have mocha latte skin. And so we're talking about adoption, birth family, and we're talking about skin color and race all right now. This is really the beginning.
This is it. You are in the beginning.
Yeah.
I have walked this road a lot.
So you're going to be on speed dial.
Yes. Has he asked questions about Hayes?
Yes. Well, no, not in the same sense of, he'll just say like he'll talk to Hayes about it. He'll say, Hazy, you were, do you remember when you were in Mama's tummy? You came out of Mama's tummy and I did not come out of Mama's tummy. I came from her heart. These are little things that, kids grab onto that they hear. And we talk, and I'm trying to be just very technical, even with sex education.
Oh, yeah,
like in the bathtub.
We are the penis vagina family around here. Yeah.
Same. And so, except for, Jude still says vagina.
I like it. That's great. Let him say it. It's hilarious.
But he knows the real word, It's okay. You're like mispronouncing, but that's fine.
That's great.
So anyway, but yeah, so same. Like, I just feel like if we start these conversations now, and I'm just open and nothing is shocking and I'm just immediate to respond and give answers, then I pray and hope that this will be our journey.
I think you're doing the best thing.
It's just
100%. Yeah.
We got to lean into it.
I think for me, when my kids were younger, because our family looks different, like your family looks, the kids' questions were not difficult for me. Like I could handle those and we addressed them just like you said. Truthful, age appropriate. Mm-hmm. And we still do that with a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
The things that were hard for me were strangers' questions.
Sure. In front of your kids.
In front of my kids. Now, this is what I was going to tell you is those were really hard moments for me. And in the early days of parenting, I did not react well. I was pissed off. It would bother me for days. I would think bad thoughts about the person. And then I kind of grew into security in my motherhood, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Because the major question was, do you know his real mom? And that just bothered me when I was, 27 years old. I didn't take that very well. It doesn't offend me now because I know what they mean.
Yeah.
But my point in saying all that is things change when your kids get older because they're not asking questions. No, strangers are not asking questions to me about my old kids.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, it's like they have an awareness that they're listening.
Exactly. But my kids were listening then. They just don't, strangers don't think that.
Yeah. And that's why you got all mama bear.
I did get all mama bear. I'll tell you the one time, the most mama bear I got, I'll never forget this. I was in Old Navy in the checkout line. And I only had at this point, Caden and Deacon. Caden is my oldest, who's biological. So he's white. Deacon, our first child we adopted, is biracial, just like your Jude. Mm-hmm. White birth mom, black birth dad. Mm-hmm. So we're standing there in line and, a woman is behind me and she said, are both of these boys yours? And I said, they are. And she goes, oh, it's pretty obvious. They have 2 different dads. And I said, nope, they have the exact same dad. And then I was like, and then I turned around and I was so mad.
That would have gotten me too.
But just like, who has the nerve?
Yeah, and it's loaded with judgment too.
It's so loaded with judgment.
I don't have a wedding ring on,
Yeah,
you know, and I can only imagine what people think, but
You've probably been asked if you were babysitting. Have you been asked if you're babysitting?
Yes, for sure. Definitely. And that's always funny. I think sometimes too, when Chusa and I are together, which is so funny because I mean, I'm 41. I'm not like, I don't, you know, but like sometimes I think people are looking like, is that the dad of like,
is that his
it's
mom
just so
and his
ultimately,
kids or like trying to figure it out?
Yeah. I mean, it's so confusing when we're all together.
Yeah.
And we haven't had a moment where someone's been so bold as to say,
but you can tell
I
their
can only
brains are
imagine
wondering.
what they're thinking.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I love watching your family grow, and it's so exciting, and I'm excited to go to Rwanda with you.
I am too. And they love going and being there. They come in the summers. You know, one thing that I think has been unique in this journey too is that when I look at a lot of people who are doing ministry in the same way, like a lot of time their mothering came young, like in their 20s. And then now they're out and about doing all the things that they're doing, traveling, and their kids are older. Yeah. And mine is sort of flipped.
The opposite.
Yes. So I'm kind of like, where are y'all out there? Like there's gotta be some people that have young little ones who are solo mothering out in the world. If you're there,
they're going to come find you. They're listening, and they're going to come find you.
Yeah, because it's like I want a little support network together of just like, so we're, you know, a lot of times like I'll encounter, so people will say this to me and they don't know I'm a mom. They just don't see a ring on my finger. They don't know me. And they'll be like, oh, I can't come to Rwanda. I've got small kids. And they don't even know who they're talking to. Because like, you know,
like, I take my kids with me to Rwanda.
Yes. You know, and granted, it's my job. I get that. But just that whole thing of like, God's really taught me a lot in that, and just kind of like, actually, we can say yes to things, and no matter what season we're in. Yes, there are times we have to say no to things, 100% too. We have to have boundaries. There's right times for our family, all of that. But I do like to challenge people to really, are you saying no because you just think it, but it could be a yes? Yeah. Or are you saying no because that is the right thing?
Well, you think something about your season disqualifies you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that. I remember feeling that the first time I went out of the country when I was a mom. I had a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old. Yeah. And I thought, what kind of mom leaves their kids to go to a third world country? And I went to visit Haiti. And after a lot of just like prayer and contentment and asking Aaron, I came to the conclusion that a mom who loves Jesus, and a mom who's on mission, and a mom who wants her kids to say, my mom wasn't afraid to go do big things. And that's where I landed.
And Jamie, look at your family.
Yeah. And now I have 2 kids there. Who never?
That would have not happened.
I know. It's so crazy, isn't it? I have one more question before I find out what you're loving and reading.
Okay.
Can random people go to Rwanda with you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Y'all have trips?
Oh, yeah. You just go on our website, visit Rwanda. It says that. And we have all different trips and all different kinds of teams. And we do vision trips. We do trips where people can come meet the child that they're sponsoring. And then we have different focused trips, whether that be medical or teacher training.
That's so great. I meant random people.
Really
you know what I meant? Like, people that you're not putting a trip together. Okay, tell me what you're loving and reading.
Okay, so loving right now this week, Beautycounter.
You know, I'm a fan of Beautycounter.
Yes, we both are. Yep. So we have this in common. We've talked about it. So the CEO and founder, Greg Renfrew, woman, founded Beautycounter, and she testified as an expert witness this week at a House committee on Capitol Hill about cosmetic and skincare reform. And I am on fire. She got me all inspired because really, if you think about it, like there was this whole interchange between someone on the House committee and the FDA, and they were saying, does the FDA have to disclose, or does the manufacturer of baby lotion have to tell the FDA what's inside of it? No. If there was something that was causing harm and reactions in babies, do they have to tell the FDA? No. I mean, it's all this whole like voluntary thing of like, do they have to recall a product if they know that it is affecting the health of young babies? No.
These are our laws right now.
Correct. Yeah. There's no regulation. So it just made me passionate because I love also doing Beautycounter. Solo mother, you got to get creative on all the things. And so I work full-time with African New Life, and I work for Beautycounter and love it. And that, it just gets me fired up. I have to have purpose in what I'm doing. I mean, I think we all ultimately do if we love what we're doing and we're passionate, it makes it that much better and going out and doing the work, you know? And so I feel really fired up. I was really excited about that.
That is fire upable.
Yeah. So go watch it. You can just Google it and or we could link. We'll link
to it.
That. That testimony because it's just so powerful. Another thing I'm loving on the way out here, I was listening to Tim McGraw, the song "Humble and Kind."
Okay.
Love that. It made me start crying in the car, thinking about my boys and just saying, I
want you to grow up and be
that's
this.
what I want too. Yeah. Humble and kind.
Love it.
And for all of us, that is a good reminder. I'm also loving these little headbands from Amazon.
Anything you can get on Amazon is a friend of mine.
I know. It's the little things in life that like when I see it, it makes me smile. So it's like these little like shower headband things. It's not a shower cap. It's a headband. Ask. It's a headband that has a bow on it. It's real cute.
So it's not for the shower?
No. It's to take your makeup off at night or to do your makeup in the morning. It pulls your hair out of your face, but it doesn't mess up your hair.
Okay. So it's not a headband you wear out of your house?
No.
Okay, got it.
It's like a getting ready or getting ready to go to bed or getting ready for the day. You keep it on your counter next to your counter time.
I do use counter time.
Me too, pink.
Do you wash your
That's because we're over 30, Jamie.
I know. Do you wash your face twice a day?
Yes, and you need to do a better job of this.
I don't.
I know.
I didn't wash my face last night or this morning.
You've got great skin for that.
Counter time.
It's a counter time.
No, I really just started using that over the last 6 months, but I really like it. But
I do too. It's a nice routine. I love that too. And
so maybe I need a good headband to help me wash my face.
Mm-hmm. Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Conscious Goods was at this pop-up we did last night. It was a market and I was there at Beautycounter. And they have these like bath bombs, Conscious Goods. I don't know. It's called Healing Waters. So when I got home last night, I popped one of those bad boys into my bathtub. It was amazing.
You're a bath girl?
Every day.
Oh, really?
It is my solace.
Okay, we have a friend. Don't say her name if you know who I'm talking about. Okay. We're not going to call her out. She takes baths every time she's in a hotel, multiple times a day. If there's a bathtub, she's in it. Like it may be like she might come home for just a few hours. She will take a bath because she loves it so much.
My friends who are listening who know me are laughing right now.
Is this you?
It's me.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you after.
Okay. I mean, same. I get so sad if there's not a bathtub in a hotel room when I'm traveling.
We're down to one bathroom at our house. Our bathtub stopped working about, 4 months ago. I haven't taken a bath.
No.
Well, every time I'm in a hotel, if they have a nice bathtub, I'll take one. And some people are completely grossed out by that.
Well,
I'm like,
I definitely make sure it's clean.
I mean, I give it a good look over, but
I do too.
Maybe I walked out of there with some STD or something. I hope not. Someone tell me, can you get an STD from a bathtub at a hotel?
Oh, Lord.
I sure hope not. All the moms are like, kid, I'm going to tell you later what an STD is. Well, we already said vagina and vagina. So
yeah. And actually, I think it's technically an STI now. Is what
really?
They call it. Yeah, infections.
Oh.
I think it encompasses more.
Okay.
So they changed it.
Okay, got it. Well, can I get an STI?
Yeah.
And so I love a bath too, and I've been missing one. But I love bath bombs too.
Yes. So I'm loving that.
Yeah.
Books I'm reading. So one I'm reading right now that I just finished is, and I sent it to you. It's called Awful Beautiful Life.
I got it.
And so when I was in college at UT, I met the Powell family, Becky and her husband, Mark, and their kids. Actually, one of them wasn't born yet when I met them, but their baby yet, their third. But I met them through Young Life. They were on the committee and they were looking for a babysitter and I was looking for a job. And long story short is I started babysitting for them all the way through. And they became like a second family to me, just dear friends. And 6 years ago, right after Jude was born, just a couple of months later, Mark committed suicide. And it was really horrific. And Becky, 6 years later, has written a story of how their family has recovered from that. I mean, they're not, you never recover, but how they are recovering, right? Yeah. On that journey. And, she would say it's a lot of F words, she said, but faith, family, friends.
That's not what I was thinking.
I know. Well, there was that word too, she said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll give it to her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll give it to her.
And on top of it, it wasn't just that he took his life and that they were young children. It was that also he left them millions of dollars in debt because he had been borrowing money or taking these loans and promising these high interest returns. And it, all imploded. And so she was, going through an FBI investigation. So not only had her husband killed himself and the children lost their father, but she's also under investigation, could face jail time for something she didn't know about, And so it's just terrifying on so many levels. And so she has written this story and it's beautiful. Because they are so dear to me, all of them. I cried, in the first few chapters of this book, like weeping in bed. So I don't know. I think it's hard to read for anybody. Certainly people who are close to the story are going to have a really strong bet. And then another book I'm reading right now is Be the Bridge, Tasha's new book.
It's so good.
Yeah. And I'm super excited because I just started it. So that our entire staff, African New Life, we're reading it together. And then she's coming. Stateside. Okay. And she's coming in February to lead us through an intensive, our entire staff.
Love it.
And then in the future, we're also going to be doing it in Rwanda too. She did a workshop this summer with our Rwanda team, and it was just kind of the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. There's so much more to do. And so I'm just so grateful for her friendship. She's come multiple times and that she's really committed to us as a staff, on both sides of the ocean.
I love it. Tasha Morrison's been on the Happy Hour twice. We read her book in book club this year, Be the Bridge. I have recommended it a million times. It is the perfect book for someone who is knee deep in racial reconciliation or who is on the edge thinking about how does this affect my life. Mm-hmm. There's something in there for everybody. And you just did a plug. If you want Tasha to come in and do something with your organization, contact her.
That's right.
Because she does that. So Natalie, we're flying to Rwanda in 2 days.
I know.
And I can't wait to experience all the things African New Life is doing for the communities they're in and the children that are going to have meals because we're going to raise $75,000 plus dollars on this trip. And so thanks for letting me be a part.
Yeah. Thank you for saying yes.
Friends, I cannot wait to head to Rwanda. Make sure that you're following me over on my Instagram, which is @JamieIvy, so that you don't miss any part of our Food for Tomorrow trip with African New Life. Like I said, my son Caden will be there, so basically I have my own personal videographer and photographer on this trip, so you're going to get to see everything we're doing. Thank you, Natalie, for being on the Happy Hour. I'm so honored to hear your story to motherhood and now to get to see firsthand the work that God has had you be a part of for the past 10 years. Friends, also, I keep saying this, but happy 2020. It's a new decade. And so we thought it would be fun to talk to a few friends about what life was like for them 10 years ago, how life has changed and what the year 2010 brought them, what the last decade has brought them, and what they hope for over the next 10 years. Be sure to listen to Your Last Decade. It's a special edition happy hour releasing on Fridays. And spoiler alert, I am bringing men on this show. Last week, you heard my husband, Aaron, and me talk about what life was like for us over the past decade. And this Friday, I'm bringing you a conversation with my friend and former Texas Longhorn quarterback, Colt McCoy. Coming up next, I sit with Laura Tremaine and Nick Runyon. You're going to hear stories of adoption, of professional athletes, of fatherhood. A lot of the things you're going to hear is about how a lot of long, hard roads have taken them to where they are now. One step at a time, one foot in for the other. From quitting jobs to starting new things, to starting families, to changing careers. So much fun in these special edition episodes. Our hope in all of these shows is that you too can reflect on your last decade. Whether you were 23 or 65 or 12 10 years ago, that you'd be able to look back and see what God has done in your life and where He has brought you. How have you persevered? How have you screwed up? What would you do differently? And what are you so very proud of? Also, looking back always causes me to look forward. So my question for us today is, what do you hope to see happen in your next decade? Listen on Fridays and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Today's show is edited by Chris with Podshaper, and the music was developed for the show by Matt Graham. Show notes are written by Aki Slackers, and the whole thing is organized by Lindsay Sweeney. Did you hear last week's show with Beth Moore? And did you hear our end of the recap with my husband on Christmas Day? Both of those shows came out on Christmas Day and New Year's Day, so I know it has been crazy and you might have missed them. If you missed those shows because of the holidays, I highly suggest you go listen to them because they're super duper good. My guest next week is Rachel Myers with She Reads Truth. It was such a joy to have this friend in the studio. Our conversation is just like a happy hour with a girlfriend. We talk about kids. We talk about pulling back on some things, the tension of things that we are feeling in the midst of suffering. And Rachel shares these amazing things she's loving. Like, seriously, wait till you see the shoes that she's loving. I love them now, too. Guys, enjoy your week. Have a happy hour with a friend. Share the show with a girlfriend. And I will see you back here next week with my friend, Rachel Myers. But first, Your Last Decade on Friday with my friend, Colt McCoy. See you later, guys.